Am I wrong for thinking that the comment that my boyfriend made about my little sister was creepy? So my boyfriend 28 male and myself 26 female are staying up at his family's cabin for this New Year's. Anyway, we were having dinner last night with all of the adult cousins and the topic of having creepy guy friends came up. I started telling them a story about a creepy guy that my older sister used to know, 33 male, who I never liked because he had a tendency to sexualize women and say weird shit about them. On one particular occasion, my little sister, 20 female, was trying to FaceTime me when we were all together. And this friend made the comment that he hoped that she was just hopping out of the shower. Just unnecessarily ick. I blew up at him and told him how creepy he was. So last night I was telling them a story about him without mentioning my little sister, and my boyfriend chimes in saying, yeah, and he said that her little sister has amazing huge tits. I was kind of stunned because I never heard him directly say this, but also it felt over the top even mentioning this to his cousins. Later in the evening, I asked him if his friend really said anything about my younger sister, and my boyfriend got really defensive and said that he couldn't remember if he actually did, but that everyone knows that my little sister has big tits. This turned into a huge fight because he couldn't even remember if his friend said it to begin with. To me, it sounded more like it was a comment coming from my boyfriend and not his creepy friend. So am I crazy for finding this weird? Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter that my marriage comes first? So my 16-year-old daughter has been acting really cold towards her stepmother. We've been married for 2 years. I sit my daughter down to try to get her to understand how important her stepmother is to me. So she needs to, at the very least, be polite. She complained that she was as nice as she could be, and then she started asking me why I cared more about my wife's feeling than my daughter's. I straight up told her because she's my wife. My daughter's gonna leave my house one day, but my wife, she'll stay by my side. And in order to maintain this family, my wife will always come first. She got upset and started asking hypotheticals. She asked me, what if she hates having me around and asks you to reduce custody? I responded, I doubt that would happen, and if it ever did happen, I would discuss it with her. And I would bring up that you're my daughter and I love you very much. But I would definitely want to know why she felt that way about you. She ran off crying and told me that she wants to live with her mom. So am I a bad dad? Heck yeah, you are. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter-in-law that she wasn't invited due to her weight? I'll try to keep this short. I have 3 girls and we still like to do girls trips for the day. My son got married to a girl named Beth. Now, before her first kids, she was average weight, and after, it got a lot worse. Her only kid was 8 years old at this point, and she hasn't lost the weight. It's bad enough that she needs constant breaks walking. I used to like her, but now I don't due to her behavior. Everywhere we go with her, it's constantly her complaining that she's tired. The last girls' trip to the mall was spent sitting on the bench half the day since she needed constant breaks. And if you try to leave, she'll go on about us abandoning her. It's so annoying. I invited the girls to go to a farm for pumpkin patch and to pick some apples. It has a big orchard and tons of walking. We went and it was a great time, and there were some pictures posted on Facebook. I got a call from Beth asking why she wasn't invited, and I lied and said that it was just a family trip, but she accused me of lying. I had enough and told her the truth and that it was because of her weight and that she forces us to stop all the time and ruins the trip. She called me a jerk and hung up. Am I wrong for picking the same name for my baby as my brother-in-law was going to pick for his unborn baby? My 31 female, husband 33 male, and his brother 36 male aren't super close. But we all get along pretty well, and he's honestly a pretty nice guy, but I think he's jealous of what my husband has. My husband said that it's always been like this, so it's not a big deal. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby, and it's a girl, and we've been discussing names. Now there's one that we landed on that I love. It's not super out there, but it's definitely unique. The thing is, it's the same name that my brother-in-law and his girlfriend picked out for their baby 3 years ago, but unfortunately she didn't make it. His girlfriend had picked that name out from a ballet, and she told me that if she ever had a daughter, she would name her that. So we were at a family event over the weekend and we mentioned that we had that name in mind, and my brother-in-law looked shocked and said that that was what they were going to name their daughter. My husband said that we knew, but we really just liked the name, and then he started begging us to change the name because it was really special to them. I got mad and told him that he doesn't own the name, and then he finally dropped it. Now the family is calling us a-holes for picking the name, so are we? Yeah, you're an a-hole and you're heartless. Am I wrong for getting my daughter a hotel room entirely for herself after her stepsisters made her sleep on the floor? My dad passed away 2 weeks ago. Me, my wife Candace, and my daughter 16 Shiloh, and her stepsisters 19 and 17 flew to my hometown to attend the funeral. After that, we got 2 hotel rooms, one for me and Candace and one for the girls. While I was in the room, I got a call from Shiloh at 11 p.m. crying, and it sounded like she was arguing with her stepsisters. I asked her what was going on, and she told me that her stepsisters insisted that she slept on the floor. There was one large bed in the room, and there was enough space for all 3 girls to sleep on it. I asked why, and she said she didn't know. I went over to their room to see what the issue was. They kept talking, but they really didn't explain why they told her to sleep on the floor. They just shrugged it off and said that it was better this way and that they're more comfortable this way. I told Shiloh to grab her things, and when one of my stepdaughters asked where we were going, I told her that I was booking Shiloh her own hotel room. Both looked upset and didn't say anything, but must have called their mom because she was awake when I got back and started arguing with me. She said it wasn't fair that I gave Shiloh her own room. I explained why I did, but she said that I wasted money and that Shiloh should have just sucked it up for one night. She said that it's not fair that I'm playing favorites. Now that we're back home, my wife and stepdaughters won't talk to me. Goodness gracious, another case of the evil stepsisters and mother. I would give all three of them a 9 out of 10 a-hole rating. And OP was just being a good dad. He gets a 0 out of 10 for me. Am I the asshole for silently getting up and walking out of the restaurant during a New Year's Eve dinner after I was told to pay for everyone at the table, including my in-laws? I, female 32, recently inherited a good amount of money from my mom. I keep the money in a separate account as I still haven't decided what to do with it, and I didn't want it to go to waste. I noticed that my husband constantly brought up the money, and he's been making countless suggestions as to how I should spend it. Another thing is that he expects me to pay for nearly everything the past couple of weeks. For New Year's Eve, my husband and I met up with his family at a restaurant to celebrate. It was going fine until I found out that I was expected to pay for everyone at the table. My husband's mom joked about paying for dinner out of my inheritance pocket, which made me livid, but I showed no reaction. I just silently paid for my own food and drinks, and then I got up and made my way out of the restaurant. They were all shouting at me as I walked away, and my husband tried to get me to come back, but I drove home. He got back at 3 a.m. yelling at me, saying I was pathetic to get up and walk out on him and his family after they relied on me to pay for their food. He said they thought I would be gracious enough to do it, but they were wrong. Then he went on to say that I humiliated him and the family, and that what I did was an attempt to get back at them for not being able to help mom when she was sick. Which is definitely not true. Now he's mad and saying that I caused a huge rift between his family and me when it wouldn't have even hurt me at all to pay for the celebratory dinner. So am I wrong here?